first two of your test substances, and I will be testing them for potassium iodide starch, Benedict's sugar test, Burette's protein test. And we're going to see that here. Let me go ahead and arrange my tubes. All right, so again, it's going to go potassium iodide starch, Burette protein, Benedict sugar, potassium iodide starch test, Burette protein, and then Benedict's test. And just like before, I'm going to go ahead and load up with 5 milliliters per tube of water, just to have a solvent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 1. Okay. All right. And there is our solvent. And let's go ahead and put our test substances in. We're going to go ahead and add potassium iodide. Now this time I'm going to add a little bit less because we know what the experiment should look like already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good, very good. That's your potassium iodide test for starch. I'm going to add your Burette solution. That'll take care of your protein. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's go ahead and add our Benedict solution for our sugar. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you guys could probably do this better than I could do it, for sure. Let's go ahead and add our substances that we're going to test. So the first one I'm going to do is milk. And we're going to test it milk for starch, for protein, and for Benedict. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, very good. And while that's going on, I'll go ahead and put our other substance in. Meanwhile, let's get our hot water out, and we'll go ahead and put our Benedict's test into that. Put it on the side. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the kind of the starchy solution for some potatoes that I chopped up. This is for your potato experiment. And we're going to test these potatoes for potassium, with potassium iodide solution for starch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, very good. And don't forget, we're going to put this Benedict solution into the hot water bath. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our milk tests. Ooh, okay. So take a look. Your milk potassium iodide test is staying brown. So is that positive or negative? If you said negative, that's correct. For the potassium iodide test for starch for our potato sample. Do you see how it's turned like a little bit darker? And it's actually quite much darker than the milk. Okay? This is actually a very weak positive for starch, for potatoes. And that kind of makes sense because potatoes are full of starch. If I added a little bit more, now that this potato water is kind of a little bit more cloudy, and I really should mush up these potatoes so you can see more of it, you would see this turn darker purple. Yeah. Do you see how dark that got? And you could probably see at the top there's like a thin layer of purple on the top. Yep. All of that starch is really floating at the top of this and turning the top of this purple. So that's a positive for starch from potatoes. Let's take a look at potatoes. Have a little bit of protein. Nope. You can see milk with protein versus potatoes, right? The milk is weakly positive. The potatoes are negative for protein. All right. And if you take a look, well, for sugar, for those small sugars, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more hot water because I think that water has cooled down. So give me another minute, okay, guys? I've got some boiling hot water for y'all for your test. I will try to pour this without hurting myself. Ooh, that was too full. Oh my God. And we're going to wait a couple minutes for a chemical reaction to occur. Now, ideally, we would do all of these tests at the same time that we do our control tests. But because we have so many of these tests, I kind of got to do them video by video, piece by piece. So thank y'all for your patience. I appreciate it. After this video, I think we're going to do the egg and almonds. And I think after that, there's like oil or something. So we'll finish up in just a minute. I think I'm going to omit the salmon test. I wasn't able to get salmon, y'all, so you can just take that off of your test list. Oh, Lord. I'm going to have to clean this table, y'all. I'm going to have to clean the color off this table. Yeah, I don't think this is going to turn. So you'll notice here that for the, let's do the milk first. For the milk assay, it's not really turning color. It's still a bright, like blue color. Sometimes this will turn because milk does have a sugar in it called lactose. If you're lactose intolerant, you'll probably be familiar with that. But either the water is not hot enough or I didn't put enough milk. Usually that turns a very weak negative, sometimes. But for the purpose of our experiment, you can go ahead and put that as being a negative. Sorry, this should usually a weak positive, but for our experiment today, you can go ahead and put that as being a negative. Yeah, usually that turns. Maybe I should get hotter water. It's okay, Lily. Lily, our biology mascot, wants to go outside and explore photosynthesizing plants. Okay, let's call this a negative. Let's take a look at potatoes. You'll notice that the sugars in potatoes are not stored as simple sugars. They're in fact stored as that starch molecule, the complex carbohydrate. So you'll notice that this is still a negative result. So these are your results for milk on the left and potatoes on the right. Milk is negative for starch, positive for protein, and negative for sugar. For potatoes, potatoes are positive for starch. They're negative for protein and also negative for simple sugars. All right, so I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to go ahead and get the almonds and the egg ready, and we'll wrap up with a couple more videos.